As the Democratic National Convention, DNC, unfolds, the reactions from Fox News hosts have been both sharp and critical, reflecting deep skepticism about the unity and direction of the Democratic Party. From concerns about President Biden's sudden exit from the presidential race to critiques of Kamala Harris's leadership and the controversial involvement of Planned Parenthood at the convention, these reactions offer a glimpse into the underlying tensions and challenges facing the Democrats. The fallout from Biden's exit. As President Biden unexpectedly steps aside, the mood at the DNC is anything but celebratory. In this clip, Jesse Watters captures the sense of unease as he reflects on how Biden's swift fall from grace has led to a strained and uncomfortable dynamic within the Democratic Party.
You can tell him he's president, he won't know any better. Paint his house white, he'll be fine in Wilmington. But she's not getting another 4 years, right? No more Hamptons galas, no more expensive designer dresses, no more glowing profiles in glossy magazines. She doesn't want to go to Delaware and have to shop at Wilmington outlets. All they have is Anne Klein, Dana. Anne Klein, she's too important for Anne Klein.
Biden's isolation and the Democratic divide. Continuing the discussion on Biden's departure, the next clip delves into the growing divide within the Democratic Party as key figures distance themselves from the outgoing president. The clip highlights the tension as Biden prepares to exit the stage.
Elected Democrats, surrounded by media in this room, can't escape questions about what the party did to Biden, because tonight, and only tonight, is about him. After his speech, he's getting out of town, and he'll be thousands of miles away when Pelosi and Obama speak later this week. Here's a glimpse of the dynamic between Obama and Biden's camps. Axios reports a Biden ally got into a heated argument at Fenway when a former Obama official was gloating that Biden, quote, finally figured out he had to quit.
Harris takes center stage. As the focus shifts to Kamala Harris, the challenges she faces in rallying the party behind her become evident. This clip critiques Harris's leadership and the decisions she has made since becoming the Democratic nominee.
Since being named as the nominee, Kamala Harris has only made 3 major decisions, and all 3 were disasters. Number 1, caving to the anti-Semites in her party, she bypassed Josh Shapiro, the obvious choice for VP, and gave the job to Tim Walz, a radical left-winger who's the dream candidate if you do opposition research, maybe for the GOP.
The cooling enthusiasm for Biden. Jesse Watters continues his critique of the DNC, emphasizing the diminishing enthusiasm for Joe Biden within his own party. This clip illustrates the apparent disconnect between the party's public statements and the reality behind the scenes.
If the party was unified, as they say they are, and Biden stepped down for the greater good of the country, as he said he did, and the last 4 years were worthy of Mount Rushmore, he'd be holding court in Chicago all week, soaking up the love, holding fundraisers for Harris. Hillary threw Bill a birthday party this afternoon. Biden didn't even show up. The truth is this. The Democrats don't want Biden anywhere near this convention. He's toxic. And they don't want him standing on stage with Kamala. That's not going to help her at all.
AOC's disconnect. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's speech at the DNC drew both praise and criticism. Dana Perino offers a sharp critique, pointing out the disconnect between AOC's rhetoric and the realities of the Biden-Harris administration, particularly in terms of their appeal to certain voter demographics.
It also seemed very disconnected to reality. She was talking as if Biden and Harris hadn't been in office for the last 3.5 years. She was talking about people having to go back to work because they couldn't afford things. I'm like, yeah, well, when did that happen, right? And she's talking about immigrant families starting out and how Kamala Harris is their personal. Yes, we know. Yes, that's absolutely true. She also is talking about how non-college educated workers, like, well, Donald Trump has all those voters now, and he has the rural vote. They are now the party of the elite. And then she said, President Trump just wants to do things for his friends on Wall Street. As far as I can tell, he doesn't have any friends on Wall Street.
Harris's policy avoidance. As the focus turns to Kamala Harris, Senator Josh Hawley criticizes her for not discussing her policies in detail. He suggests that the reason behind this avoidance is that her policies are deeply unpopular with the American public, particularly regarding immigration and energy.
Well, Laura, I think the reason that Kamala Harris isn't saying anything about policy is not because she doesn't have policy positions, it's because she does have them. They are excruciatingly clear and they are excruciatingly bad. Let's start with the border. She's the border czar. She's in favor of amnesty for 15 million illegals in this country who she let in. Worse than that, she is in favor of gold-plated health care for all of those illegals, and she wants it paid for with taxpayer funds. So no wonder she doesn't want to talk about her plans. No wonder she doesn't want to talk about her plans to ban gas and diesel in this country.
This clip highlights Hawley's critique of Harris's handling of immigration and energy policies, which he argues are detrimental to the American people and thus avoided in public discussions. Unrest at the DNC. As tensions rise outside the convention hall, the DNC faces a wave of protests, with anti-Israel sentiment fueling much of the unrest. This clip highlights the chaotic atmosphere and the strained responses from Democratic leaders, particularly Kamala Harris, as they attempt to navigate the volatile situation.
Protesters are chanting "Genocide Joe," at Joe Biden, and branding Vice President Kamala Harris a, quote, killer. And they're threatening to, quote, bring the war home.
And yet, remember, Kamala Harris responded to those anti-Israel chants during her Detroit rally with "Every voice matters." And I guess I'm in the minority. I don't think these voices matter in this way because they are calling for the utter destruction of human beings.
Planned Parenthood controversy. The involvement of Planned Parenthood at the DNC sparked significant controversy, particularly their offering of free abortions and vasectomies. In this clip, panelists discuss the implications of these actions, questioning how this aligns with broader American values and the potential impact on voters.
This is ghoulish. Yes. It is not what anyone wanted. And I think part of the argument, they talk about joy for the future and optimism. Deciding you're not going to have children, or you're going to have a vasectomy and you're going to have abortions and you want one right now, that is a statement that you have no hope in the future. 70% of abortions happen because of economic reasons. That instead of saying, oh my God, I can't do this because the Harris economy makes me have to work 2 jobs and I'm barely paying the rent, that you can say, yes, I can do this.
Through these clips, the reactions of Fox News hosts to the Democratic National Convention highlight the deep divisions, concerns, and criticisms facing the Democratic Party as they navigate a pivotal moment in their political journey. Whether discussing the fallout from Biden's exit, Harris's leadership, or the controversies surrounding Planned Parenthood, these clips offer a critical perspective on the challenges and controversies defining this year's DNC.